Hi, myself Rajshekhar, and now I am going to create and mount Lustre file system. So for this, I'm going to show the steps to get a Lustre file system, that is MGS, management server, metadata target, metadata server, object storage server, object storage target, and client up and running on a cluster of 3 machines. I've taken a cluster of 3 machines with IPs 192.168.50.14, 192.168.50.13, and this is for client 192.168.50.15. So we need to have 3 machines networked together. So all these 3 machines in a cluster are networked together, and I have taken 3 5 GB primary partitions from unallocated disk space. And here I have chosen CentOS 6.7 and Lustre 2.7. So Lustre 2.7 is the most recent build from Lustre organization. And the Lustre topology will be Lustre file system. I'm going to give as Lustre here. The name is Lustre. I'm going to create, and 50.13 for the OSS and OST I have taken, 50.14 for management server and metadata target and metadata server, and 50.15 already told you that is for a client I have taken. The procedure is first we need to set up the management server, metadata server, and metadata target. So here management server and metadata server will share the same storage. For our convenience, I am doing like this. So first we need to connect to 50.14 machine. Already I have connected with SSH, and we need to download and install the kernel RPMs, E2FS procs, E2FS programs, and Lustre RPMs for management server and metadata server and metadata target. So I need to download these RPMs from downloads.hpdd.com. I'll show you. This is a site. I'll close it and I'll open. To this website we can go through lustre.org site. Here we need to select the download thing. Then we need to, as we are installing Lustre 2.7, that is the latest release, I'm clicking on this. As already told, I have taken CentOS 6.7, so I can select 6.6 as well as here. And since I am doing for MDS and management server, I should click on server because that is a server. And since I am looking for RPMs, I am clicking on RPMs. And since my machine is a 64-bit, I am clicking this. So from here I need to download this kernel patch, and I need to download this Lustre module, Lustre utilities, this one Lustre modules, and OSD LSKFS, OSD LSKFS mount. These 4 packages I need to download from this website. As all we know that we can download it from wget command by giving this complete link here and selecting this, not this. So if I press enter, that will be downloaded and we can install it with yum command. So at a time we can download this kernel patch, and already told you this Lustre module, and these 2 Lustre file system utilities we need to download. So as I already installed, see I've already installed E2FS procs and E2FS proc libs. These E2FS procs and programs and E2FS programs libraries should be installed at the same time in the same command, so that it can resolve the dependencies well. So like this, I need to install yum local install space, and I need to give this libraries RPM as well as, and by giving this -y option it will not ask for yes or no while installing. So if I press enter, these two packages will be installed successfully. And these E2FS procs also can be downloaded the same website. The path will be after public, we can give E2FS. Yeah, this is a path. So I have downloaded this. I think I have downloaded this for RHCL6, and by selecting RPMs and 64-bit, yes, we can download this E2FS programs package and E2FS program libraries. And since we need to download this libcom error and libss also, if you are getting any problem while formatting the disk, we can download this libcom_error package and libss package from the same website. By just giving after public, we need to give E2FS procs, and we can by clicking that we need to download it. So first we need to download the kernel patch and E2FS procs, and then we can download the Lustre packages and Lustre utilities. The same path we can go after public, Lustre latest feature release. This is for client. Yes, this is for server. So here I need to download the kernel patch, and I need to download the Lustre package, this one, and I need to download the Lustre modules, and I need to download Lustre utilities, OSD LDiskFS and OSD LDiskFS mount. This LDiskFS Lustre disk file system and Lustre disk file system mount packages are needed to format the Lustre file system. These two are utilities, and Lustre, these two packages will provide us utilities like make tune to FS, LCTL, and while formatting the Lustre file system, we'll give mkfs.lustre. That is also utility. These three utilities will be provided by these two packages. So I have downloaded and I have installed. So after that, after downloading and installing, we can check with this command grep Lustre. It will give the Lustre packages. So the main packages are Lustre OSD LDiskFS, OSD LDiskFS mount, Lustre modules. These three packages should be installed, and this one is for patching the Linux kernel with Lustre. And after downloading and installing, we need to reboot the machine to take effect of Linux Lustre patched kernel. If I give command uname-a, we can see Lustre name here. That is, now it is a Lustre patch Linux kernel. This is mandatory for Lustre file system on both the servers, on a management server and as well as on object storage server. So after downloading and installing the Lustre packages, we need to configure the Lustre. Now to configure the Lustre, we need to configure the LNet, that is Lustre networking. So Lustre networking kernel modules have a variety of module parameters that can be set in /etc modprob-d, and we need to create one file in that. So I'll show to configure the Lustre networking. First we need to go to /etc and modprobe.d. There I have created a file called lnet.conf with vi. So there I have given a line called options space lnet space networks equal to TCP0 and ETH0. This is to create a Lustre networking. The type of network we are using here is Ethernet. So here in Lustre we can give the type of network we are using, and also globally available networks can be specified along with the routes in a Lustre configuration. So TCP is since we are the Ethernet is on 0 port, we need to give TCP0 in brackets ETH0. So by giving this, the LNet will be configured, the Lustre networking will be configured. Now we need to format the partition. Since we have already installed all the packages, that is we have also made our kernel with the Lustre patch, and we have installed Lustre modules and Lustre utilities. We can format the we can take a partition and we can format with Lustre. Here for metadata server and management server, I have taken XVDB. I think I have taken XVDB. Yes, this partition I have taken for formatting the Lustre. So to format a Lustre, already I told we have a utility mkfs dot Lustre, and we need to give file system name. I am giving as Lustre --mgs and --mdt. Since I am configuring, I am doing mgs and mdt in the same machine, I am taking the single node for both them. They will share the same storage space. Generally, for better performance, the management server should be installed on a different machine, so for easily managing the Lustre file system. And giving the partition xdb. With this command, the xvdb, the /db and xvdb partition will be formatted with Lustre file system. And after formatting the Lustre file system, as we know, we need to mount it. First we need to create a mount point with mkdir command. Like this. I have already created a mount point in /mnt like MDS. I'll show you. See, here I have created with capital letters MDS, metadata server. Now I need to mount the formatted Lustre file system on MDS. So for this we have a command mount -t Lustre /db /xvdb and /mnt /mds. If I press enter, already it is mounted. So by this command, the Lustre file system will be mounted on top of MDS, on top of MNT. So after giving this command, we need to give mount. We can see here /dev and xvdb mounted on MNT and MDS. By df-h also we can see here. So by this installing and configuring metadata server with management server is over. Now we need to install, configure, create and configure object storage server and object storage target. So the one step is left actually. Here after mounting it, we need to install LNet module by command modprobe. So now after formatting the partition with MKF Lustre file system and mounting it on, we need to install LNet module by giving command mod probe LNet. With this, the LNet module will be installed in MDS and management server, and we need to start the LNet by giving command lctl network up. We need to get like LNet configured. If this comes, the network the LNet network is configured and made up successfully. And we can check the NID as well by giving lctl list -nids. This should give reply as 192.168.50.14, that is the IP of management server with MDT and at TCP. This is a protocol we are following now because we are having Ethernet here. We are configuring with Ethernet. If this comes, the LNet is successfully configured and all the packages and utilities are successfully installed here. So after installing and configuring management server with metadata server, we need to install and configure object storage server. For this also, we need to download and install the packages like Lustre RPMs, Lustre modules, Lustre utilities, and a patch for a kernel to make Lustre patch Linux kernel. The same website we can go. Giving server here. And by selecting RPMs and 64 by bit, we need to download the same kernel patch, and we need to download the Lustre modules, Lustre LDSCFS package and Lustre mount package. And Lustre RPM. These 5 things we need to download it from this website. As already I have downloaded, I will show you. And E2FS programs also need to be downloaded, and E2FS programs libraries should be downloaded, because E2FS now before this only E2FS programs that are that will maintain ext2 or ext3 or ext4 will be by default installed. So to sync with Lustre file system, we need to download a special kind of E2FS programs and E2FS program libraries for maintaining the Lustre file system. And also we need to download the kernel patch and install. We need to install these 3 RPMs also with command. And already told these 2 will need to be installed in the same command, so that dependencies will be resolved easily. So after installing, we need to reboot the machine to get this Lustre here. Now it is a Lustre patch Linux kernel. So we need to check the modules installed, Lustre modules installed here. You need to grab it. See here, LDSCFS utility is also installed here. Kernel package patch installed, Lustre modules, and these 2 utilities are also installed here. So after downloading and install all the required packages, we need to configure the LNet here as well by going to etc modprobe.d. We need to create a file called lnet.conf. We need to give the same line called options space LNet space networks TCP is 0. and we need to give mod probe lnet command to make a lnet module to be installed, and lctl network up command we need to give to up the lctl network and to check whether lnet is configured successfully or not by giving this command lctl list underscore nids. The output should be like this, so that in this machine the TCP with the TCP protocol the lnet is successfully configured. So after configuring the network successfully, now we can format the partition with the Lustre file system. First we need to identify partition with an allocation of disk space. I have identified /dev xvde that time, and you can take anything, any of these xvda or not xvda, xvdc. I think this is an unallocated, and xvdf and xvde. So I have taken xvde and given command as mkfs dot lustre hyphen ost, and we need to give file system name. I am giving file system name here as Lustre. MGS node I need to give to sync with MGS node, so that metadata will be stored in MGS node server, and objects will be stored here. Dot 14 is the IP. TCP, and we need to give the partition name /xvdf. By this command the partition /dev and xvdf will be formatted with Lustre file system, and after formatting we need to mount it. We need to mount it with mount -t Lustre. Before that we need to create one mount point, and I have created mount point here as well in /root with name OST0, because we will have multiple OSTs. Here I have taken only one OST. I have created name with the name OST0. Then I am mounting it on OST0 with mount command, mount -t Lustre /dev /xvdf and /root/ost0. See here, sorry, I have taken xvde, not xvdf. Already mounted, it is saying. So after mounting it, the configuration of object storage server is also over. We can see by mount here, we can see, and with df-h also we can see. So now only thing left is configuring client, Lustre client, creating and mounting the Lustre client. Requires only two packages, that is Lustre client module and the Lustre client utilities package. So only these two packages are needed for Lustre client, that is Lustre under -client -2.7 and Lustre -client -modules. So after downloading and installing the Lustre client and Lustre client module packages. And here the kernel, this patch, Lustre patch is optional. If you are using InfiniBand or Mellanox MX like the networks, we need to have this kernel patch for Linux kernel. Since it is an Ethernet, it is an optional. So we can check with this command. See here I have installed the Linux kernel patch also, Lustre kernel patch also. So after downloading and installing the necessary packages, we need to configure the LNet. Actually, we need to load the client module, Lustre client module, with the command mod probe Lustre. Just by giving mod probe Lustre, we need to, the Lustre client module will be loaded onto the Lustre client machine. And after loading the Lustre client module, we can just mount the Lustre file system onto Lustre client machine. For mounting the Lustre file system on client machine, we can give mount space -t -Lustre. Now we need to give the IP of metadata server machine instead.50.14, and we need to give the network. The TCP is a network here, and we need to give the file system name as we have given Lustre here, and the mount point. I think I have mounted it on MNT. See here Lustre is already mounted on MNT. We can check it from mount command as well. So the Lustre file system on client machine is successfully mounted. Now we'll check the Lustre file system is successfully installed or not. Before this actually we need to make the entries in /etcfs tab. We have to make. So for MDS I have taken partition /dev xpdb, and I need to give the mount point, and the file system is Lustre and defaults netdev. This format to give in fs tab, that so after reboot also the mount point will be there, and in OSS also. File system name, file system path, mount point, name, file system type, and defaults netdev and 00. The client machine, there is no need to give in a fs tab entry. So to test the Lustre file system, we can test it with dd command. dd if equal to, I'm just writing a zeros onto the Lustre file system by this command 0, and output file should be Lustre, and we can give block size $1K. We can give count as 100K. So now we can see here total 105 MB is copied, with the speed of 165 mbps per second, mbs per second. Since this is an Ethernet connection, here we have configured it is very less. In InfiniBand it is very high.